What's up, people, man? How is this not the craziest story, man? We definitely got
nervous with butterflies in your stomach. Don't try to intimidate me. You couldn't scare me with lip. I'm spontaneous, smart, dangerous, fancy and quick. My trainer told me to work. He ain't prepared me to quit. I'm the only captain who's sailing this championship.
I gotta hold down the city.
Gotta let you know where I come from.
I gotta hold down the city.
Gotta let you know.
I gotta hold down the city.
Gotta let you know where I come
from. He's a sellout. Yo, what's going on, everybody, man? I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about this last night. The IMG. You know, a lot of people know IMG, but on like a tour. They have a game coming up in Springfield on September 25th. They had a game on ESPN, and everybody looked like a damn clown. A lot of people know that COF is now Bishop Sycamore, but this is probably going to be the craziest story of 2021, man. How are we doing, man? We're getting close to the football. Friday, the exhibition game, or Island football, begins kind of for a few teams, but not all. There's going to be a few teams that already had to take a back seat to this week's injury fund game. But I wanted to get into this crazy story. The fake high school from Columbus, Ohio, and it's really got the internet moving. A lot of people seen the game on ESPN, and how does a fake school end up on ESPN? I'll tell you why. Because ESPN from the top to bottom, all the way down, Stephen A. Snitch, all the way down to the funkies that go get the coffee, they have been getting exposed year after year, and they don't care about credibility. ESPN does not care about credibility, and that's a fact. But, everyone knows the powerhouse IMG Academy. Are they building a high school program for profit? Like, did they put this powerhouse program together so they could travel the country and play all these teams? But it looks like Sycamore was saying that they had several Division I athletes on their roster. ESPN announcers even announced that they couldn't even confirm any of this stuff. They even admitted the information seemed to be one of many lies that were told by Bishop Sycamore, formerly COF, until they got bounced. But several issues like concern playing 2 games in a span of 3 games. I guess Bishop Sycamore, before they played this game, they played another game. So they played a game before that, and no wonder why they got the dog meat beat out of them by IMG. Not to mention, Bishop Sycamore was previously known as COF Academy. Before getting shut down in 2018, Aaron Boyd, who claimed to be the first ever player recruited by Bishop Sycamore, has really been throwing them under the bus. He said, "You know what? You liar." Bishop Sycamore definitely lied. So they asked him what he did when he played there. He said he played there his junior year of high school. I played there 2018. He was 15 going on 16, and that's the kid in the picture that we're looking on. But before they were even Bishop Sycamore, they were COF Academy. And the player goes on to pretty much say that he was at the Adidas All-American camp. They came and recruited him. Now, the question I would have, why did he go there? Now, go to Complex. You can read the whole story. But he said he first, because they had like nice brochures. They had a plan. He said that they sent them books with stuff on the school, how blueprints, everything. They told us they were going to have a special on Netflix. This is the show, the team that was on ESPN a couple nights ago playing IMG. When they recruited the players, they were telling them that they were going to have a show on Let's see what my man Eddie. Shout out to Eddie at Rhode Island Gridiron. I understand what everyone is upset. I look at this and say, grown adults cannot beat high school kids. How to show you how important coaching is. Exactly. Shout out to Eddie. And it definitely, the school just lied to these kids they were recruiting. Come to find out, when the kids all got on campus, they lied to their parents. They lied to the kids. There wasn't even a building. There wasn't even a building for these kids to live in at Bishop Sycamore campus. Not even a place for them to live. Where are these kids going to sleep? Not only that, they got them in there saying that we're going to have a Netflix special. This is the problem with programs like this. You know what I mean? This is the stuff that the administrations are doing, and it makes everybody look bad. It's even suspect for a school like IMG that's going on a tour playing anybody that will pay for them to come to their program. IMG will come play whoever, EWG Knights, Citrus Spartans, Hendricken. If you want them to play, if you're willing to come up with the dough, they'll come play you. But when the students got on campus at COF, aka Bishop Sycamore, well, guess what? There were no buildings. They said they first went out there. They were staying in a motel in Delaware, Ohio. They stayed there for 5 months. Now, these kids are supposed to be in school, right? They're supposed to be getting an education. That's why the parents are sending them there. They're waiting for the Netflix production team to show up. They're waiting for their special on Netflix. Well, 5 months after staying in a hotel, well, they got thrown out of the hotel because the school was bouncing checks. And I think the coach even had a warrant put out for him for bouncing checks. They were writing bouncing checks for everything. The players go on to say that, we never paid for anything. This is what they sent us, catch us on Netflix. This was part of the brochure that Bishop Sycamore was doing to get these kids recruited. And then when you have these good recruiting programs, you wonder why everybody is suspect. Show that you shouldn't always chase fame, should chase your dream. Do it the right way, no shortcuts to greatness. That's right. And we are definitely building kids' dreams in here. Check out part 2 last night, Coach Ryan McCormick's podcast talking about all the Rhode Island players. And there's people out there with a narrative that UMass Dartmouth recruits anybody. They'll take anybody. And that's just so not true. Look at the Rhode Island kids. They all have unique characteristics. But let me get back to this. They were there for 5 months. They had no housing. All the players came to find out, like I said, that they never paid for the room. Even the school was writing bounced checks. The head coach of Bishop Sycamore wasn't the head coach. He was like the AD. He was a dude that was behind it all. Let me go on here. Let me actually bring you up to where I'm at. Oh, here's the player. The one that's exposing everybody. He goes on to say that the dude had legal problems. They said the coach scammed the church. Had funded from a church. That's how they were doing it in the beginning. And he heard that people were writing stories about why did it take so long to blow up. But he said, because the media, the leagues will not let you talk about this type of stuff. He said the media has a narrative. You go to the media about something, if it's not politically on their side, on their agenda, the media is not going to post it. You look at our BS Providence Journal, we have so much plagiarism going around. They talk about what they want to talk about. I heard about one sock in the Central Falls 3 times this season, just in this week by the Providence Journal. So come on. What did these kids do for education? Well, you want to know what they did for education? They didn't do jack. We didn't go to school at all. We never went to school. I can't lie. They tried once. They took us to a community library just one day. It was already October. The season was about to be over. It was like, what's the point? I'm not going to school. Y'all haven't put me through school this whole time. And then there was reports that Bishop Sycamore was taking college kids in. They were bringing kids to JUCO. I'm sorry, they were going to put kids in JUCO programs. All lies. The kid went on to say he didn't know about the JUCO kids, but he tells you that he was about 15 and everyone else was 19 and 20. And I'm going to post some videos later. I actually got the videos. I just got to download them. People sleeping on the floor. They didn't even have practices. They just went to games. This team was so dangerous. What this coach was doing to these kids. And I know you're just trying to let them play football. Or are you trying to shine? Are you trying to be on ESPN? And then all of a sudden you figure, well, maybe I'll get recognized. Was there any times that they all built camaraderie before going on the field? And they said they lived in a hotel together for 5 months. We all moved in July before school started. You probably hear my crazy daughter in the background. Sorry about that. And they thought it was a legit thing. From July to mid-August, everybody thought it was legit because they all thought they were staying in a hotel because there was no school. They said, maybe there's no school. That's why we're in a hotel. But they sent parents brochures. They sent the blueprints of the building. They were going to practice at some nice place, nice facility. They thought they had 10 coaches, one coach for every position. They had 2 coaches left when it came time. A team mom was one of the coaches, because they found out coaches wasn't getting paid. And he said there was one coach that stuck it out, but the rest of them were pretty much out for the dollar, man. Why didn't you bounce? He said he left after his junior year. He went back to high school. He said, this isn't going to work for me. Most people were already out of high school at that time, and it didn't really affect them. And kids, if you're not making them go to school, they ain't gonna go to school, right? I mean, facts. He said it ruined a lot of stuff. It was very sad to see. I wouldn't say that all the players are JUCO. I know some kids that are seniors in high school, and now their senior year is just gone. And he said that's how it was for him. Now he's in his junior year. He said they took everything away from me. Everything I did his junior year didn't even matter because he was on a fraudulent team. And that's the other thing. You got these kids that don't know your program's fraudulent. COF was kicked out of their league in Ohio back in 2019. Nobody knew what was going on. So I wonder if he had to do classes. That was the next question coming up. Did you have to do any classes? He said he had to come back and redo his entire junior career because Bishop Sycamore lied to these players, wasn't sending them to school. So when they left Sycamore, went back to school, they had to redo that entire class. Now, does that affect you being a 5-year football player? Possibly. How his mom reacted, my mom couldn't watch over me. I was telling her I was going to school. I was telling her what they were telling me to tell her. Kids, lie to your parents. That's what they were telling him. Lie to your parents. Kept saying, we're going to start school next week. We're going to start school next week. But he said after October, he lost all hope. And he said he was just going to go with the flow. But the craziest thing that ever happened, he said for the last month and a half, they had about 35 players. They moved into these new houses, right? For a month and a half, we were all sleeping on the floor. They even had to go steal food. The coaches took these kids to Walmart to steal food. Kroger's. This was the team you seen on ESPN a couple nights ago. This was that coaching staff and administration were doing. It was all a scam. They stole money from a church. They had the kids shoplifting. That's the crazy part. Sleeping on the floor, doing all this crazy behaviors. They had players from every borough in New York City. And shout out to my coaches down in New York City doing a great, great thing out there. Tough. Yeah, you can't play football if you don't have a vaccination in New York City. That's crazy. In the 5 toughest boroughs on the East Coast, you can't play football if you ain't vaccinated. But you put all these personalities together and they could just boil up for a young football player. And at the end of the day, these kids are just high schoolers. They're not grown men. And most of these kids were from New York City. I mean, it's really, really a crazy, crazy story, man. And how about ESPN being played? And like I said, ESPN's a joke anyway. I mean, I'm not surprised ESPN got played in all this, man. It's just it's a horrible situation. I seen this story. I really wanted to come talk about it. But let's thank the people that help us with this podcast. Thank you to R&R Elite Recruits. Check out R&R Elite Recruits today at rnreliterecruits.com. And thank you. You deserve the best real estate service. Coldwell Banker, Coastal Home, Mock. Right. Call Mock at 401-787-5203. Call Mock today. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you sticking around, coming on the show.
Nervous with butterflies in your stomach, don't try to intimidate me. You couldn't scare me with lip. I'm spontaneous, smart, dangerous, fancy and quick. My trainer told me to.
That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? And a quick update about Rhode Island football. Looks like North Smithfield will not be playing an injury fund game. And I'm hearing that Bishop Hendricken may be out as well for this Friday's matchup versus LaSalle. So I'm not sure about the Bishop Hendricken game, but I definitely know North Smithfield is not going to be playing their injury fund game. But we're going to get into the season, and there's definitely going to be issues. I mean, we already got one team down because of COVID. They don't have enough practices in to get that game in. So, I mean, good luck to all these teams, but we'll definitely hook up with you guys tonight. Definitely check out the podcast from last night. Follow the Facebook page, all social medias, and we out.